So all of the frame has arrived. It's taken roughly a week. It came with different shipments. These two boxes came with DHL, the rest came with DPD. Did buy a few extra pieces, as previous video, the mats, the monitor stands. So I've got the instructions printed out. I gave a brief overview of them, or a brief look over, sorry. But there's nothing on the boxes to show different parts or what they are, so you just got to use a little bit of initiative, I think. Look at the part numbers there and then just use a bit of common sense maybe. The only thing I'm disappointed in at the moment is as these are packaged, you have these it's like polystyrene sheets that go over the top and the bottom, but there's nothing on the edges, and the packages are a little bit damaged, which in turn causes this. So the ends are not protected very well, and if I can look at it, I'll see if I can get the other side. 1 minute. And there's the other side of it. Not checked that one yet, but yeah, the packaging could be much better to protect these sides. The tops are fine. These have got plastic sheets on them. I have bought a vacuum cleaner down with me because some of the reviews I've seen, you get metal filings. I've not seen any of that yet, like excessively, but I have bought one down, and everything will be built on. I'll be putting them on like a bed sheet, so I'll be laying a sheet down. This will be on wheels, so I'll be able to wheel it around once I've got the base frame done, because I still don't know where I'm going to put this yet. I've taken out the sofa that was there, the sofa bed. That was my old wheel, so I'm going from that to something like this. So I might be removing this desk, putting the desk there, because this section is the widest section of the room. I don't know. I'm going to get the frame built. It'll be on wheels, and I'll come to some sort of plan once it's built, and I'll get an idea of where I can walk around, where I can move. But yeah, I think from this stage, I think the boxes could be labelled up a bit better, to say, just for better planning, I suppose. But at this point, this is not nice, I don't think. We'll see what it looks like when it's put together, and see what Trak Racer say. I'll see what the community says if they have a similar issue as well. So first stage, we've got the two 160 profiles, which was in one of the longer boxes, which is there, and then I had to hunt around to another box because none of them are labelled up in a logical way. You've just got to open them all up. I don't know if it was worse because I've ordered extra bits, and whether if you just order the frame by itself, everything's a bit more logical, but it's fairly obvious what the parts are, plus it tells you here what size you need to be looking for. So as it's the 160 profile, the base is going to be really straightforward to find all the parts because they're the deepest parts. I will be fitting these on top of, I have the caster wheels so I can move it around. So yeah, just handy to keep a tape measure with you, just to measure up all these bolts, just to make sure you take the right bags out. But this is what was in the boxes that I've taken these out from, so I'm hoping this will all marry up to this. We will see. So the feet are laid out. We've got the wheels laid out, the plates and all the bolts here. You can look at the assembly pictures online from where you purchase it. It's quite straightforward on how that goes together. So I'll assemble this so that it looks like it goes this way or that way depending on front or back. Wheel goes through there, bolts through there with your T-nuts, and they will slide straight on, and we'll have to make sure we'll slide a T-nut in the middle, or we'll probably put the feet in first and then the wheels in after. So all these will slide in first, and then we'll do the caster wheels just on the ends after. So anyone who's not sure on the caster wheel setup, it is quite straightforward. There's your caster wheel. You'll have a nut with a built-in serrated washer, so that will go onto the stud first, and then this grips into the material after when you've done it up, so it doesn't undo. I'm not going to do mine up until the very end when I've got the rig level compared to the floor, because the floor isn't perfectly level. And then bear in mind, so before that, so the nut goes on, then your plate, but bear in mind the flat pieces of the plate, so it's triangular. The flat piece is either going to be at the back, or this one, flat piece is going to be at the front. And then you use your M8 bolts with a spring washer, T-nut. So you put that in with your spring washer, and then a T-nut on there, and then we can just slide this into the profile and tighten them up later once we've got everything set. I'm not going to tighten anything up properly in case I've got to move it, and I don't want scratch marks or anything if I've got to move them. So I want to get them kind of loose, move them into the position I want, just in case later on down the line there's something else interfering with it. I'd rather be cautious at this stage rather than having to strip it all back down and redo it. So yeah, straightforward. So I'm just prepping the wheels at the moment, all on a sheet. I've not seen any swarf come out, the metal filings that people talk about. I've not had any of that yet, but it's all going on here just so I don't scratch the floor while this bit's happening. Once it's on wheels, that will then be over on the wood, and then I'll assemble the rest of it on here before it goes onto the rig. Okay, so this bit's been done, and I've put the caster wheels on as well. The only problem I've come across so far is one of the T-nuts, so I've missed out the middle foot for that. Not that it's a problem, because I'm not going to be using them, but if for some reason I need to take the casters off, that won't be sported to the middle, and the only reason was the T-nut has no thread in there. So I'll take that away. If there's no spares by the end of the build, I'll just take this into work and tap the correct thread into that, and I should have access to roll in as well. So instead of sliding from the end, you can just roll these in, and I'll be able to access that from underneath because the caster wheel's lifted off. So I'll have a 70mm gap or something there. So yeah, stage 2 next. So the smaller profile here will be going on the back end, which is there, and these 90-degree pieces, I believe I have to snap some pieces off them. So I've now got to route around the boxes and find where they are. So first part of the base is all done. This was slid on before mounting this. That literally just slides in between the profiles. It's roughly at the, I think it was 380mm gap. So now I'm just putting the rail mount on, and just before I put this on, because these are perpendicular to the frame, these notches slide in to stop any movement, but because it's going this way, this stops you from bolting up the angle piece to the profile, so we just snap that off and that will pull down flush. So we'll assemble this bit, which is step 4, and I'll update you on the next one. Okay, so step 5 is the uprights. Did have a slight issue. I thought I could make the whole uprights with the brackets and slide them on that way, but soon became apparent as soon as you do that with the casters, you come across this. This won't happen if you've got just the rubber plastic feet. So you could, in hindsight, bring this all the way up, but it still rubs a little bit on there. So what I've had to do is put these on first and then slide the upright in after. So there's a little tip there if you're watching this before doing your build. Step 11 I'm not going to do until I've got everything pretty much in the position I want it, only because it looks like you have to cut these to a certain length in relation to that. So if I have to bring it further forward, I'm going to have a gap. If I've got to push it further back, I'm going to need to cut them and have a gap there. I have bought some extra strips just to break up the colour a bit more so it doesn't look too standard. I thought I'll have a little bit of a different rig, not a lot, but just a subtle difference. So yeah, 11 will be done as one of the final touches. So the seat slider was next. All I've done is just lined up the back end of this with the back of the profile. See what happens. It all went in quite nicely. There's a bit of tension there, so I would recommend putting one side in first, pushing that in, and as long as you've got your profiles set the same distance as what's recommended in the manual, as you're pushing this in, you're creating a bit of tension between the two, and it shouldn't pop out then. But yeah, not bad either. That seems to be a straightforward assembly. So the seat is in. What I've had to do is put the bolts in on the rail first and then wind the T-nuts on and slide the whole seat in. The only problem is I've only been able to tighten up the back 2 bolts. I cannot get access to the front 2 that are here, but at least with them in, it stops it from rocking back and forth. I'll have to look into that and see how I can fix that down properly. If there's some sort of release to take this off, I'll have to look into it a bit better. But it's quite straightforward to assemble the rest of the seat. It literally just slides in, 2 bolts, and then you've got a cover with a screw, and these here, you've got little notches there and there, and they literally push in and then slide down. And I will show you how that looks around the other side. I'm going to try and keep the bag on. So I don't know if you can see that. This here. Let's get that off of it. So, apologies. So there you go. So this will literally just slot in there and then push down. Bit difficult to do with one hand, but that's the process of it. So it'll push in, locating on these lugs into that slot, and then push down. And then this one here is literally screwed in with a small screw into the bottom here, and that's the seat assembly done. So the heel plate is on for the pedals. I've not done these up yet. It's going to be for adjustment later on. This slides forward and back. I'm actually thinking now, I'm not sure why I've got this model. I think I should have gone for the pre-drilled. We'll see what happens. Looks like I might be using my old Thrustmaster pedals and wheel on this until the motor turns up. But yeah, it's straightforward on this one as well. Got 2 plates, 2 T-nuts with quick release handles, and then 3 lots of profile that just bolt together. Quite a straightforward one. Next I think is the wheel mount. So that's the next one to go on. So I've got wheel mount option 3 out of all this. Again, pretty straightforward. I think at this stage I can start to bring all of this back to get where I feel comfortable with a wheel roughly, because it will come out slightly further than what this is. So what I can do now is start to tighten all these up, and then the only downfall to this is the Omega seat, which rubs on there slightly. I suppose if you've got lots of different users, the forward and back constantly may wear this out, but if you're using it on your own, you just set it in one place and you'll be fine. But yeah, the red anodization is anodized material, is really nice. Just breaks up the colour a little bit. I like it. You can swivel it up and down, forward and back. So yeah, it's a nice modular bit of kit. So next I've just got to finish off these little end caps, and then I've got the triple monitor mount to go onto this one. So yeah, a little bit more and it's pretty much done. So yeah, the build was finished, the monitor mounts were erected. That was quite straightforward to do. Just got to make sure everything's level. I would suggest backing off the monitor mounts away from where you're sitting, so when you put the monitors on there will be a little bit of flex and it will end up leveling out. The only thing different after what I've done here was the PC mount. That was straightforward. It's 2 T-nuts either side of the extrusions and then bolting the frame wherever you want. You can go anywhere on the rig. I decided to put mine at the back bar and the monitors out of the way. But yeah, overall the build's quite nice. It is doable on your own. It's easier with 2 on certain aspects. But overall, it was an enjoyable build. The only qualm I would have is if Trak Racer would have an option on their website. So if you say I'm using Fanatec pedals XYZ or Moser X and so on, it will give you the perfect foot plates, etc. Like this will work best, but this will also work. Coming from someone who's never done anything like this, I think that would be a really good option for them to put on. They do have a page on Facebook, and the response on there is within a few hours. Getting emails or getting them to answer the phone is horrendous, but the Facebook support, they're really quick. Yeah, there's the other thing I would suggest is if you're getting the Vaser mounts, get the adjustable ones. I've finally got the monitors up on my rig, and I've got a few millimeters worth of adjustment, which it's laborious trying to take it off, adjust it, put it back on, whereas these adjustable mounts they have, these are supposed to be really good. So once I've got enough saved up, I will be purchasing these, but the next stage, I've already got the wheel and pedals on, that'll be a separate video. I'm currently now saving for the graphics card, or this will be in another video as well. But overall, it's a really fun build to do, and I'm extremely happy with the build quality of it. It is sturdy. Just download everything when you've ordered it, download your manuals, double read everything, lay everything out logically, look at the side of the box, because after I had a complaint about there's no information on the box, if I opened my eyes it'll say on the side. But even without that, you've got the measurements. You can chuck the boxes away and do this without the boxes. Everything's labelled up quite nicely. So yeah, thanks for watching. There's links in the description below, so that is for affiliate links. I will be boosting this channel up a bit more very soon. It's a bit tight with me doing full-time work. I'll do some other things as a sideline, and then I'll try and fit a race or two in. But yeah, any help with all the extra little bits of funds I could raise during this will all go straight into this, and providing better content. So it all is a bit rough around the edges at the moment, but long term I'm hoping to make this channel just as good as all the other pros, shall I say, that do sim racing. So thank you very much for watching, and there will be more content to follow. Best of luck.